Dear colleagues, my presentation is Strange Reflexive Properties and their Possible Impact on the Trueness of Artificial Intelligent Inferences. So, the main question which I focus on is: does intuitive belief in the truth of a formal proof affect the truth the assertion been proved? And answer of this question depends on the philosophy of mathematics doctrine. This question has certain practical senses. So the question of the validity of expert evaluations based on formal logic inferences. Procedure of logical inference may be correct, but the inference itself as a judgment may be false because of wrong assumptions or inconsistency of certain type of logic in certain case. In other words, should an expert be sure that inference is right or not to improve the epistemic power of conclusion? So when I speaking about the expert judgments, I mean the expert type of expertise which is based on formal procedures, not only just on the pure experience or on the pure intuition. I focused on Smalian attempts to formalize the epistemical framework, epistemical type of discourse. So Raman Smalian reflected on Gödel's problems, which help of epistemic logic instrumentation, uses the specifically understandable modality believe in and the standard tools of propositional logic. He uses the Gödel epistemic operator B. So the proposition BP have to be understood as a judgment in which some reasoner believes. Reasoner may be treated as a computer or a perfect natural mind from the logic point of view. Furthermore, BP is not only a certain belief but also a proposition that is probable in the system. So BP is the most primitive structure in Raman's Smalian account. It has to be pointed out that identification of act of belief and probability is the weak link constriction. This identity places restrictions on interpretation of subsequent results in concern of natural mind. However, this issue requires extra accurate study. Strange reflexive properties and deception detection for improving human reasoning. So I'm trying to use these strange reflexive properties, which was suggested by Raman Smalian in concern to deception detection technology. Yes. So my idea is to use deception detection technology, or so-called polygraph, yes, polygraphy, to detect strange reflexive properties. So naturalization of reflexive properties to physical and neurophysiological content seems far from hopeless. We are accustomed to considering truth as an epistemological concept, but we know such a kind of truth that can be interpreted ontologically. It sounds bizarre, but this truth is often an epistemic sort. Egyptian, the truth of the form X believes P. From this natural standpoint, the truth of a particular belief or knowledge is a certain state of mind. Hypothetically, this real epistemic condition as a state of mind or identical to its state of logic gates can be detected. In practice, this task was solved with a satisfied reliability by polygraph. However, at present time, deception detection is used exclusively to clarify the objective of a first-order truth. But what will happen if the subjects would be questioned by the self-referential questions that lead to contradictions and paradoxes? we will get some distribution of answers. Will this knowledge be of value, and if so, what kind of value? Next. Smolian uses special properties known as stability and normality. These are epistemic properties, yes, in his epistemic logic. So Smolian introduced two bizarre epistemic properties, yes, stability and normality. Why bizarre? So this is a quotation. We will call a reasoner stable if for every proposition P, if he believes that he believes P, then he really does believe P. We will call the reasoner unstable if he is not stable. If there is at least one proposition P such that the reasoner believes he believes P, but he does not actually believe P. Instability is a strange psychological characteristic as peculiarity. Further, we know that stability is the converse of normality. If a normal reasoner believes P, then he believes BP. Whereas if a stable reasoner believes BP, then he believes P. Next. Experts may be treated as forms of Smolian reasoners. The first structure. If expert is normal, it means that BP follows BBP. In other words, if expert believes in P, it follows that he believes in P. So, and if the expert is stable, vice versa, yes. If expert believes that he believes in proposition P, it follows that he believes in proposition P. Next. So BB type propositions are available in public judgments of experts in the form of expert proof that P. It may sound strange, but if it is structure BBP, then the results of the examination are accepted as true that P. This is based on the assumption that experts may only formally provable statements. BP statements are the expert's real inner beliefs. Therefore, let us assume that only a polygraph is capable to detect BP or not BP. The rejection of BP, yes. It means whether the expert really believes in the truth of his beliefs or not, whether he accepts this belief or not. So, of course, I mean not the contemporary polygraphs, but ideal polygraph, yes. Polygraph is extremely good resolution, yes. Precise polygraph. Another question. Can instability property be treated as natural standpoint? As I said, as Raymond Smolian said, instability is conceivable but bizarre mental property. But its existence so impossible? Beliefs can arise in meta language and at higher reflexive levels of thought. Does this mean that they will survive with a decrease in the rank of reflection and, in a case of language simplification, to the object notation level? This kind of dramatic process of abandoning original beliefs can often be observed in attempts to naturalize statements of high levels of abstraction. When someone claims to believe in, for example, Trinity, it usually means that he considers himself as theist and actually believes that he believes in a Trinity. In the case of close examination, it often turns out that this belief has no sufficient theological basis in a certain mind and should be considered as false. Next. Obviously, we may suppose the existence of mathematicians who believe that Gödel's first theorem is true. It may be turned out that testing such mathematicians on a detection detector would reveal that some of them do not really believe in the truth of this disputable theorem. This is quite conceivable, since it is known that a person can have a belief at a conclusion and at a conscious level, supported by many additional conscious assumptions, but at the same time not have deep conviction, experience serious subconscious doubts about the truth of his belief. Next. The stability characteristic can also be applied to technical expert systems of a mixed type, consisting of two circuits: an intellectually non-transparent natural network perceptron that recognizes and classifies data, and classical algorithmic circuit which carries out logical conclusions based on the data of the first circuit and other kind of rational inputs. One may imagine a situation where the algorithmic conclusions come into logical conflict with information at the output of a neural network which asserts something without transparent rational grounds. This state of a system may be construed as unstable. If we use this as analogy, the human mind should be attributed to the mixed systems of this kind, which was pointed out by Aristotle in the doctrine of the three sorts of souls. Unfortunately, we don't have knowledge about the real distribution of these strange properties in the real acts of reasoning. It means that if we have a case detecting the false belief of certain expert, we may conclude that this expert is unstable. If we have a case, an expert makes a false conclusion, but with help of a polygraph reveals the beliefs in truth of this conclusion, it means that expert is abnormal in the Smallian sense. Next. Intuitivism and constructivism accounts in philosophy of mathematics. It is difficult to say what is good for the needs of a reliable expert system in terms of probability requirements. It depends on which version of the philosophy of mathematics we adhere to, intuitive or constructive. The fact that these beliefs cannot be immersed to their very foundations is hardly significant. Egypt's corruption of truth after a decreasing of the reflection rank is not a critical phenomenon. About the constructivism account. So from constructivism standpoint, it is clear that the instability is less negative phenomenon. It is important for what reasons expert does not believe in his beliefs. It is important if he simply can't accept the truth of the axioms used for his inferences. From this point of view, it is much more important that the truth of judgments is reinforced at a higher reflexive rank, into which a powerful formal system of justifying sentences is installed. In accordance with intuitionism, the interpretation should be completely different. The most disgusting property of it is instability, because statements that are not grounded in deep convictions have no value. It is a different matter when the rank of reflection increases so the subject is not able to translate his beliefs to a higher reflexive level. An epistemic abnormality that prevents to increase the reflection rank of a certain statement would hardly be treated as positive in concern of human intelligence. Thank you for your attention.